And we are live. Another What's Up Wednesday. Howdy, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We got a special show for you tonight. We've got a prolific author. This is Jerry Minchey. Jerry, say hi to the folks.
Hi.
Howdy. He's a great guy. Jerry, how did we meet many years ago?
Best I remember, it was in church. Could have been a bar, but I'm not sure. I'm going to stick with the first one.
I like your answer on that. Secret word for bars, church. We met in Cedar Key. I think my first pass in the van through Cedar Key in 2019. So it's been maybe even 18, actually, now if I think about it. So it's been a while. What's kind of cool about Jerry is he is a prolific artist, author. And let me show you this. He's done a ton of books, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of them on RVing. And he's going to share his really vast knowledge tonight on how to RV on a dime and a dream. That is something I am not overly familiar with. So we're going to get into some of that nitty gritty. Let me show you this. Oh, by the way, he's got a free book offer for you. So you want to stick around for that. If you're trying to do this on a budget, frugal living for $1,000 a month or less still can be done, right, Jerry?
Yeah. If you do some boondocking, don't travel too much.
Yep, we're going to talk about that for sure. These are the topics we're going to talk with Jerry about tonight. So if these resonate with you, stick around for the entire hour. And we appreciate you joining us for the live and for the rebroadcast. As soon as this ends, we post to YouTube so you can see this at your leisure whenever you want. By the way, for me, for the first time, howdy, my name is Scott. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go small, live large. Appreciate you being here. So if those topics resonate for you, we're going to get into that here in just a couple minutes. A few things to cover first, and that's the survey. I did the survey earlier today, Jerry, and people, about 50% of the over 130 votes think they could do full-time RVing about $2,000 to $3,000 a month. What are your thoughts on that? That's pretty reasonable, isn't it?
That's realistic. That's about what people spend.
Yeah, I think it's for me, it's about closer to $4,000 because I take in everything I can. It's pretty funny, but we're going to cover all these bases tonight. Our libation live tonight is Silver Belly. We learned about Silver Belly through my association with Embassy RV. Alan Jackson has his own brand of whiskey, so we're going to be sampling that. I found a bottle in the wild, Jerry, in Chattanooga, actually, and I've never seen it on a store shelf before, so I had to pick it up. Are you joining us for Libation Live tonight in about a half hour?
Oh, yeah.
If not before. Some of the good stuff there. I love it. So join us for that. And this day in history, we've got there was a big space thing that happened this day in history. We'll go through that with as part of Libation Live. And Jerry has prepared a song of the week for us by Jimmy Buffett, who's recently died, sadly. And I am not familiar with this song. I wonder if you will be when we get there. Of course, we love your questions. If you can help me find those questions by using the format 3 stars, 3 question marks, that helps me see it more readily. And if you want to elevate your question, use super chats. So you kind of make a donation to the cause here and just press the $ next to your chat field. And Joe Russo is taking my picture. And when you give a super chat, we'll jingle the jar. What's up, Joe?
What's up?
I know, right? Now I got to jingle the jar carefully because I cracked it last week or 2 weeks ago. We got a little storyteller. We're all head to the Adventure Van Expo, Jerry, which is in Chattanooga on Friday. So now they're going to harass me. I can tell. This is great. But when you do elevate your question or comment with the super chat, super sticker, we jingle the jar, and that helps give you some exposure. Oh my God, it's so funny. And if you can let us know where you're watching from, that'd be super great. So these are the flags, Jerry, on the planet Earth that watch this program. And if you don't see your country's flag, please let us know so we can place it on the flag. An international sensation. This show, What's Up Wednesday. Episode 143, 143 weeks, continuously doing this. Help us be better RVers. I am coming from Guntersville, Alabama. It's kind of the northern corner of Alabama, just about an hour and a half from Chattanooga. Jerry, where are you coming at us from tonight?
Banner Elk, North Carolina, up close to Boone, North Carolina, about 4,500 feet. Nice and cool.
Nice and cool, man. I'm jealous. It's the weather is finally breaking here. This is where I am. I came out of Huntsville today. It's a little less than an hour from Huntsville, Alabama, which, by the way, is the biggest city in Alabama. I always thought Birmingham was, but it's Rocket City there in Huntsville. Pretty cool. And the temperature, speaking of sorry?
I used to live in Huntsville, work for NASA there.
I was gonna say it's Rocket City, man. It's a huge rocket town, and I went through that yesterday. It was so much fun going through that history. Amazing. This is our temperature today. It's a low 80s, and it's going to be about 59 degrees tonight. So it's really lovely weather. And oh, these guys are being funny. What's the temperature in your area, Jerry?
It's 60 right now.
60. Oh,
It'll go down to freezing this weekend.
No way. Oh my God, that sounds actually delightful. I'm so tired of the heat. I'm not sure about you. And here's where the gasoline is in my area in Guntersville. It's about $3 to $3.30 a gallon. I paid I think it was $3.10 today, filling up in Huntsville. Jerry, what's the gas price in your area?
When I was over in Tennessee today, drove over to Knoxville to see my son, and I filled up at $3.04 a gallon. But when I got back up here, it's $3.54, so it's 50 cents a gallon more to haul the gasoline up this mountain, I guess.
Location. And if you're looking to buy property around here, it's pretty all over the board and pretty expensive. I didn't zoom into a lot of this, but $500,000 to $1 million. You know, it's a lake community, so it's very expensive houses on the lake. They probably moved in from California. Everybody's probably excited about that, I'm sure. Chuckle. This is my route plan. I'm headed back to home base a little early this year, although we got a lot of activities while I'm at home base throughout the South. But this is where I'm at. So if I'm coming through your city, it'd be great to meet up. We got a number of roundups and Vanbury campouts planned over the next few months. So, Jerry, you're headed to where? Out of North Carolina soon?
Next Monday, I'll go down to Cedar Key, Florida for 3 months. And then I'll go to Costa Rica for 6 months.
And I can't wait to talk about that. You are a digital nomad. I'm sorry this lighting is so bad. I don't know why I look so red. Do I need this? Maybe so. I've not been in the sun today. But anyway, so let's see. A few more things to talk about real quick. This is the video I'm dropping this weekend. It's how to wash your rig carefully without causing damage. It's really scary doing the self-service wash, and I give you some really big tips here. You can't really take your rig because you're in a Class A motorhome. Is that right, Jerry?
Right.
So you can't even take it into the self-service jobbies.
No.
You got to hire some kid in the neighborhood, right? That's how you roll?
Yeah. I do it myself sometimes and hire some people in the neighborhood. There's some mobile wash service that'll come out and do it. I've done that a few times too.
Yeah. So you don't want to miss that video. It's a short video, but full of good information for you, especially if you're new to the van travel thing. And the next What's Up Wednesday, we're going to talk about my 5th year of ownership of this very van, just turning 120,000 miles now. And I picked it up the first week in October in 2018. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. If you go to my website, gosmalllivelarge.com, that's where all the events are listed. And now you can actually add these to your calendar, check out the information. And if you want to add it to your calendar, you can do that and then join us. All you need is just an email address and your name. There's no charge for any of that stuff, unless you buy your own tickets and things like that. And we do want to give a shout out to the Peace, Love, and Vans. This is happening in mid-February 2024 near Tampa, Dade City, Florida. And our area is sold out, but the general campsite is still available. So if you're looking to have some fun in Florida, this is where it's going to happen. It's going to be so much fun. We've got it's going to be crazy. And again, we're looking for some volunteers. Many of you have reached out. As soon as I get past the next few weeks, we're going to be having some Zoom meetings on this, looking for a location scout to hold different events, help me plan these events, a moderator for these types of shows, and public Zoom calls that I want to have. I'd love to start a newsletter again and help me with the email list and working with some of the brands. So if you want to get a behind the scenes peek and help out the channel and channel growth, that would really be great. Just use the email address there, GSLL Viewer Recommendation@gmail, and we'll do that. How are we doing so far, Jerry?
Looking good.
I know. All right, let's kind of get into the meat of the matter here. Actually, before I do that, let's look for some questions. I saw that there is some good questions coming in already. But we do want to cover this content. So here's Rod's got a question here. Thank you, Rod, for using the format, 3 stars, 3 question marks. Wants to know what time we'll be getting in Chattanooga on Friday and how can all the GSL folks camp together? I'm looking forward to a fun weekend. Never been to the Adventure Van Expo. So what, Rod, great question. What Rod's talking about, Jerry, is there is a commercial expo on Adventure Van vans and gear. You need to buy a camping pass. It's in the parking lot across from the expo. We'll have to kind of arrange it almost kind of in real time. I'm actually going to be in the expo part, but we'll just drop the Russos are going to be there. You'll see the storytellers. So maybe kind of gather around in that area where the storytellers are. But you do need a camping pass for that. I think it's for $100 for the whole weekend. It's dry camping, meaning there's no services, there is a shower house and a toilet, but there's no plugins. There's no water for your rig. And I will be getting in earlier on Friday to set the expo up. But the show opens Saturday morning, and everybody kind of camps out Friday night. And Saturday night show ends on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be a hoot. It was a great time last year, and it will be that way again. So, ever been to an Adventure Van Expo, Jerry?
Nope. The fairgrounds in Florida. There's some boondocking rallies. Done that where there's no hookup.
It's not unlike that. It's just a lot of fun. Okay, so it looks like that's kind of caught up on some of those. I want to say hi to everybody. Just want to give Jerry his due here. So, Jerry, this again, you're a really prolific author. It's pretty amazing. So, tell us, how many books have you published so far?
I think 27 so far.
27 books.
6 this year. 2 of them haven't been published yet. They will before the end of the year. So
you are amazing. I think I have a hard work ethic. That's pretty amazing. And a lot of them are on the RVing. Some now your books are on how to write books. Helping people, just sharing the knowledge base. What's in this montage I'm showing here? What's some of your better selling ones here?
The one at the top there, Secrets of RVing on Social Security, is real good. And down the right-hand side, about halfway down, the Motorhome and RV Retirement Living. And on the left-hand side, that green one, How to Write a Nonfiction Book and Publish It, is good. And the Book Marketing Magic in the middle of the column, there down at the bottom, it just come out. It's doing good.
That's awesome. And what's your latest book you have out?
The latest at the top left corner, You Only Get Old Once.
Thank goodness, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. And what's your helmet, the book earlier? What was the latest one you have going?
This is not the latest. This is one about how to be a digital nomad in Costa Rica.
There you go.
And,
which is pretty awesome.
Here's the one.
You only get old once.
Yeah. That's mainly the book that people buy to give away as retirement gifts when some of their friends retire.
That's so great. And what's the punchline there? Don't wait, just do it. Is that right?
Yeah. On the You Only Get Old Once.
Yeah. I don't know why I look so red. It's so weird. I apologize. You only get old once. Man, let me tell you. And how long have you been a digital nomad? So traveling Costa Rica and elsewhere?
Well, I've been going to Costa Rica for about 15 years, but I took a gap, probably 6, 7 years in between where I didn't go. But I've been going down for the last 5 years, I think now.
That's
I
amazing.
used to go 3 months, and then 4 months, and then 5 months. So this year I'm going 6 months.
Wow.
I can rent a real nice apartment down there for way cheaper than I can rent a campground.
Right. And the perfect weather and perfect people.
Perfect food.
Perfect food. All right, let's get into some of these topics. And again, if you have a question about this specifically, Jerry's kind of an expert on this, doing RVing on the less money than me. I did a video, Jerry, a few months back, and my number is about $4,000 a month, all things in. So let's talk about RVing on dreams and RV dreams and fears. I think a lot of people, they look at my van and they like, wow, that's something I'd really like to do, but ... And then here come all the reasons they can't do it. Now, some of them are valid, some are not. But kind of give us your thoughts on people establishing a dream. What's your plan? How do you remove fear? How do you kind of get moving here?
Well, the main way to get moving is just write down your plan and set a date. Because until you have a date, it's just a pipe dream. So you set a certain date that you're going to leave and get your RV. And all means, don't buy a new RV. Buy a used one. It can be very used. and have it inspected. Spend a few $100s and get it inspected if you don't know anything about it. And it's not the engine and transmission things to worry about. That's expensive things, but I never heard of anybody having an engine problem. It's all the air conditioner and all the other parts that give you problems, things you need, water heaters and those kind of things is what you need to have inspected. So a good RV, there's several companies that specialize in doing the RV inspections, but that would be the best way to get a good deal. And also look on Facebook Marketplace and some on the, buy them in Florida is a good place because people go down there and decide they don't like it or not come back or they die or whatever. So there's a lot of used RVs available in Florida.
What are some of the fears you think people have based on your experience talking with folks traveling and writing your book? What are some fears that people have about traveling in an RV or even go to Costa Rica for that matter?
I think most of it is the unknown. It's different. So we're all concerned about when anything that's unknown, and that's something to be concerned about. But most of the fears are not real. It's just things that they're not familiar with. And everybody's thinks place where they are is safe, but everywhere else is not. In Costa Rica, they think Nicaragua is not safe, and Nicaragua thinks Costa Rica is not safe. I was met a lady the other day from Canada, and she didn't even like flying across the U.S., but she wouldn't dare be in a plane that would land in the U.S. She said, if they'd shoot school kids, I know they'd shoot me. So she didn't want to go to New York or anywhere in the U.S. Everybody watches the news and they think it's unsafe everywhere else. But
yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I've learned through my RV travel that it's usually not the case. And if it's a bad looking place, you just kind of move along, right? But I think if people just turned off the news and met their neighbors and traveled around a little bit, you'll find out 99% of the time it's just fine. Let's talk about this. Jerry, it's kind of the punchline of the thumbnail, which is RVing on a dime and a dream. We talk about dreams a little bit. How do people, in your experience and even your own personal experience, budget for? How can you actually only spend $1,000 a month RVing? Maybe it's $2,000, but what are your thoughts on that? And then we'll ask you how to make a little bit of money on the road. You had some good ideas on that.
Well, 2,000 would be a lot more enjoyable, but you get by bare minimum 1,000, but 1,500 to 2,000 would be better. Basically, your two big expenses is where you're staying and the traveling. So if you boondocking, where you're not spending any money on your nightly expenses and not traveling much, then that's the two biggest expenses. And then, of course, don't eat out a whole lot. Do a lot of cooking in your rig. But you can do another thing. If you're going to stay in campgrounds, stay a whole month. Don't stay a few days or a few weeks, and stay an even month. If you stay a month and then 3 more days, they're going to charge you the monthly rate, and they're going to charge you the daily rate for those 3 other days. So stay even months if you can. And you can stay a month about the same price it is for staying 2 weeks. So do the monthly staying in the campgrounds and get some boondocking in if you can. And of course, we all know when you're traveling, you do Walmart or Cracker Barrel. I like Cracker Barrel better. It's quieter.
100%. Maybe just explain boondocking. It goes by a lot of different names. Boondocking, dispersed camping, dry camping, Bureau of Land Management, forest land, largely out west. So people can stay on BLM land for like 14 days. Is that right?
That's right.
At one state?
I think it's 43% or some number close to that of the land west of the Mississippi is owned by the federal government. So there's a whole lot of places you can camp for free there. In the eastern part of the U.S., you have to do a little more searching. There's places you can camp, like where I stay in the National Forest here. It's with that senior pass. It's, I think, half price, $5 a night, or I think it's $5 without the pass and $2.50 a night with the pass. You got water, but no electricity on it. But that's a cheap way to do it. So the main
for sure
is do a lot of your own maintenance. Do a lot of your own cooking, and don't spend a lot of money on gas and nightly camping expenses.
Trinkets, right? don't visit the gift shop.
Don't be a tourist either. You got to live like a local.
Yeah, right. Man, sorry about that. Tell me about, and he's exactly right on the daily and weekly rates for campgrounds. I've seen some RV parks. I'm spending $50, $60, $75 a night But even if I stay a week, 7 days, it's only like $300. It's just insane. The transient people like myself really get almost punished, which kind of drives me crazy. And I'm trying to slow down. So staying for a week in some places would be a lot of fun. Jerry, let's talk about quick how to make money. You had some really good ideas on this. You can be an author, perhaps, writing books, and that's a great way to make some residual income. But how can folks make some money on the road from your experience? Digital nomad, I think you call yourself. Is that right?
That's what I do, is the digital nomad. But you can do that anywhere in the world, is doing stuff, writing and doing things. I like writing books, but if that's not your thing, I have a friend here in the campground. He works for the post office, but he's actually on Sunday delivers packages for Amazon. Practically everything he delivers is Amazon packages. He gets $20-something an hour, 95 cents a mile for driving. He works sometimes a couple other days during the week too, but it's a whole lot better than work camp. Is probably the least profitable, because you work 20 hours a week and you get a free campsite, but you can do a whole lot better than that on some of the other programs.
Yeah, and just again coming up with some ways to generate some residual income. Like Jerry's been writing books, so every month there's a sale of the new book and the old book, and it adds up and little bits. And that's what I'm doing in my own RV experience, is working with a few partners, and we got some big news coming about that soon. But just having small amounts of revenue from different sources adds up to being able to cover the bills for $3 or $4 grand a month. It's pretty amazing.
My first book I wrote, it's made me, which has been out for several years now, but so far it's made me $73,000. My second book's made $50,000. So it's one thing, you write the book one time, you get paid for it month after month, year after year. So books you've had a long time ago still bring in good money.
Bring in good money.
I have some I've written that I think are some of my favorites, and they're not selling as well.
It's kind of like YouTube videos, the ones you think are going to hit, they don't do anything. The ones are, let's take some questions, Jerry. What we want to cover next is buying an RV. So if you're shopping for a van, he's got some really good points and he already shared some of them. So let's answer some questions, and thank you again for using the format here, Sherry. Great to see you, as always. Sherry wants to know, Jerry, are your books in e-format and soft cover?
They put them in both. It's no trouble to put them in the ebook and the printed book format. But lately, the last 4 or 5 I've written, I've also put in the audio format. And the audio books is bringing more profit than the ebook and printed book combined on. So by all means, do the audio book. The only thing with the audio book, you got some upfront costs unless you're going to do your own narration, which maybe $300 something, depending on the length of the book, to get professionals to narrate it for you, but you can make that back pretty quickly. So I'd say put it in all 3 formats. I mean, some books, like if it's a cookbook or a book that needs a lot of pictures, maybe an audio book's not a good option for it. But most books, the audio book is a way people missing out on the money by not putting the audio book version out. And of course,
yeah, it's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point. And I know a lot of Vanlife folks over the last few years have put out courses on how to do things. I think a book would be more attractive. It just seems to me to be more, what's the right word, credible versus doing a course. And I think you have the platform of Amazon to sell these. So you have a distribution hub beyond just the individual's website. And Jerry shared his book on how to write books. And it's on my list this year. I'm not sure I'm going to get it done, seeing this is October already, Jerry. But so you got to hold me accountable next year to getting that done, because I'd love to do a book. It'd be super great. And speaking of the Russos, he's written 2 books. And they're on Amazon as well. Couple more questions here. Roads of Life always asks good questions. All questions are good. Jerry, Roads of Life wants to know, do you feel being a member of Harvest Host Boondockers Welcome National Parks and other memberships are worth the money?
I used to be a member of Harvest Host. If not, now I don't travel that much. I come stay 3 months here in the mountains and 3 months in Florida, and stop at Walmart and Cracker Barrel going and coming. So I don't do a lot of traveling. So basically, they're very well worthwhile if you use them. If you're going to be traveling a lot around the country, then the Harvest Host, which may not save a lot of money, but you'll have a good time. And mean, when I was at, I spent more on buying products now than a campground would cost me, but I had fun and got some good deals. So I like Harvest Host. I haven't done Boondocker Welcome. I have some friends who've done that. I've stayed in a lot of the national forest and the national park. I like state parks, and particularly a lot of them in Florida. Of course, if you're a resident of Florida, you get it half price.
Which is pretty cool. I think somebody mentioned there's like over 140 state parks in Florida. So we're going to be hitting those when I return to base here shortly. And I can absolutely tell you without a doubt, Harvest Host, it is free camping, but my tab of whatever it is they're selling usually exceeds what a campground might cost for the night. So I really go for the location takes me places I wouldn't go, and you get to meet the craftsperson, the farmer, the distiller, the winemaker. And to me, it just really is a connection with that craftsperson that's really pretty cool. Couple more, Jerry, and then let's talk about how to buy an RV. So Roads of Life wants to know, how are you getting connected to the internet, and what do you think is the best internet bang for the buck? I'd even throw in Starlink there because you don't travel a lot once you get stationary. How do you deal with the internet?
Well, the campgrounds where I am, they have internet included free with it. I'm campground here at $600 a month, and that includes electricity and pretty good Wi-Fi. I think I checked just before that, it was 60 something megabytes. So the campgrounds where I stayed always have it. And I got a backup plan. I got the Google Fi network that I use as a backup, 50 gigabytes a month of data on that I can use as a backup on it. I like the Google Fi because I can go to any one of 200 countries and get off the plane and start talking. It's all free, so I use that. It's my whole phone service. I used to use Verizon, but now I use the Google Fi program.
I'm not familiar with that, so I'll have to do some research on that. And by the way, so I'm camping with a bunch of storyteller staff and owners, and we were running off his Starlink, the storyteller's Starlink, and it was really fast up and down, but it cuts in and out. So I'm actually running off my Verizon phone 5G, and it seems to be working. So we need that, and so that's you just kind of have to have a couple failovers, I think, is what I've learned. Man, the shadow's really bad tonight. Apologize, folks. Couple more questions. This is about the jingle jar, and I see we got a tip. So Roads of Life, Scott, wife is concerned how a cracked jingle jar will affect libations. Do you need us to send you all money for a new jar? You can send me any money for any reason. You don't really need an excuse, but where's the crack? Oh, it's right there. I don't know if you can see that. Jerry, and it was Roads of Life that came up. So when somebody gives a tip like this, what I do is I jingle the jar, and I don't know how it cracked because I'm pretty gentle with this thing. It is an old jar. Maybe that's why I need to find a new, like, modern jar. And it was Roads of Life that says whenever the jar jingles, if you're having libation live throughout the program, then you can sip when the jar jingles. So Rob, this is for you. Marcia, thank you for your $1.99. That's good jar shopping. Pretty funny. Jerry, let's talk about how to buy a reliable RV on the cheap, we'll call it. Not a huge fan of that word, but tell some of your thoughts on buying a reliable RV. RVs are still pretty expensive, vans in particular. Some of the towables have gone down in price since the rush, right? But what are your thoughts on buying a reliable RV? Where to go, dealing with a dealer, inspections, things like that?
I would definitely look on the Facebook Marketplace and check in what areas. I think on the West Coast, California and Washington State, that area, they're kind of expensive. But in the South and Florida, Florida and Arizona and Texas and New Mexico, that area, you'd find them better. And you can find some deals, particularly if you're looking for older thing on the lots. So the dealers, a lot of times they want to get rid of their old ones, but they're very negotiable. I've seen people buy them for half of the asking price on the older ones. So be sure, RVs are way more negotiable than cars. So be prepared to negotiate and make a ridiculous low offer. And be sure, as you said, have somebody do an inspection on them if you're not familiar with RVs. And it's the air conditioner and water heater and generator, and those things you need to check on them.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And it's just like a house inspection, right? When you're buying a house, you do an inspection. So would you recommend folks do a third-party inspection or kind of rely on the dealer that you're buying from?
I'd definitely do a third party. There's companies that specialize in that, but you can also just get a RV mechanic or somebody that's good at somebody give you a fair assessment of it.
Yeah. And make that part of the sales process. So they say, no, you can't let somebody third party on. Well, then what are you afraid of is what I'd be thinking. And like, I'll just keep shopping then, because if you're not going to allow that to happen. Jerry, this is a really big topic for a lot of folks. And so just take a minute and share your thoughts on safety and security. Again, if you're out in the wilderness, the BLM land, maybe there's nobody around for miles. That's one thing. Maybe, I don't know, moose and mules and mosquitoes are going to be your problem. But in all your years of travel overseas and in the U.S., safety and security, any thoughts on how people can deal with that so that remove some of that fear so they can get on the road?
It's perceived to be not safe or secure, but I've never had a problem with it. I've never known anybody that did. I'm sure people have. And usually I never lock my RV. Lately I've started doing that. It just doesn't make kind of stupid not to, but I just never did. Never had a problem. And up until this past year, when I go to Costa Rica, I never lock my doors. It's just not a problem with it. Now there's more drug crime and this thing that's a little more careful now, but it just, people in general are just nice and good. I was in Costa Rica, there's no streets, don't have names and sure don't have numbers on them. But I was asking a lady sitting on the front porch how to get somewhere, and she was trying to explain. Finally, she called her son. She said, "Come get in a truck and take this guy to wherever he wants to go." He just carried me where I wanted to go. And I was sitting at a barber shop. This woman was cutting my hair, and her husband came in. We got to talking. They invited me to their house for Sunday dinner. I've never had a barber in the U.S. invite me for Sunday dinner.
That is so amazing, right? And I call those rancher directions. Go down the road and you take a left at the big oak tree and you take a right once you get to the railroad crossing, and then you go over the creek and you're there, right? One of those kind of deals. It's
well, officially in Costa Rica, you got 4 lines for an address, and it's all a description from the church in the middle of the town. You go north 200 meters and then turn left at the old store and that big tree, and you go right and it's, of course, there's no mail delivery anyway, so it wouldn't matter. But it's all, you got 4 lines to write directions how to get to your house. And so everybody estimates, somebody says I'm 300 meters down the road. Somebody says I'm 200, but the one said 200 actually lives further down the road than the one said 3, because they both guessed at it. It's always from the church in the middle of town.
And then you got to do the meters conversion. Oh my God, I'm having a headache already. I'm trying to do that. And Celsius, what is that? How they figure that out? Good Lord. That makes no sense to me at all. We got some great questions. We're going to talk about getting rid of stuff as our next topic. So don't go anywhere. We got his book offer coming up. But let's answer a few more great questions here. Sherry, thank you for your question. Is your apartment in a gated community in Costa Rica with other Americans? Would solo female travelers feel safe in Costa Rica or even in your RV, in an RV? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, my place where I stay in Costa Rica is a 3-acre compound. A friend of mine put a 8-foot wall around his 3 acres. He had a great big house, and then he converted it into 6 different apartments. So he's got all of them with outside entrance. And there's, I think, 2 different single females live in a couple of the apartments. But and we're up in the mountains, about 10 miles away from town. So it's all surrounded by coffee and bananas and things. So it's out in a farming community. But then there's a locked door. You have to have a key to get into the compound. So that's one reason I didn't bother to lock the door, because nobody can get in there anyway if they don't have a key to get into the front part of it.
Yeah, that's cool. How are the bugs? Are they bad down there?
If you get around the coast, they are. Up the mountains where I am, people don't have screen doors. They don't have many bugs.
That's pretty amazing.
Of course, you get down, people go on vacation, they go to around the beach, and there it's in the mid-90s and a lot of bugs. And you get up in the mountains, there's not bugs, and it's in the mid-70s.
That's so great. A couple more questions. We got Libation Live coming up, and again, Jerry's book offer, so stay tuned. Catmandu, good to see you, sir. A challenge I see is cutting the cord with home base. A number of us have houses, and going on the road means extra expense. Aside from renting home out, any suggestions to reduce some of that expense of having a home base? Any thoughts on that?
Well, like I say, you have to either rent it out, or I'd seriously consider selling it, because if you decide you don't like the traveling, you probably want to come back not to that same house anyway. So I'd seriously consider selling it and then come back to maybe a smaller place or a condo or something.
Yeah, that's
Here's my apartment in Costa Rica.
whoa, no way. Can I come visit? Sleep on the couch.
Two bedroom, 2 bath, $500 a month.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Wi-Fi, cable television.
And you're a digital nomad.
Yeah.
Digital nomad, just writing books. And that's super inspiring.
Yeah, 100 megabyte Wi-Fi, fiber optic Wi-Fi.
That's amazing. And the sun is setting here. So now the color's not so bad, but now you can see the lake behind me, which is pretty cool. A couple more questions, and we'll talk about getting rid of stuff and making it happen. And I think Kathmandu, that's part of it, is just kind of figuring out your plan. That's what we did back in really 2017, took action in 2018. And my life's never been the same since. And we've been able to touch a lot of folks, Jerry, with your books. And you have a YouTube channel, is that right? And your website. What's your website?
LifeRV.com.
LifeRV.com.
Yeah, LIFERV.com. That shows all my books on there.
That is so great. Justin's got a question here, Jerry. Jerry, what brought you to start spending winters in Cedar Key, Florida? Very different feeling in that town than most of Florida, in a good way. I 100% agree with that. So how'd you find Cedar Key to start with, and what brought you there, spending winters?
I found it by some videos on YouTube. Cherie and Aunt Chris and Cherie had a video on it. So I found it, went there one time, and I fell in love with it. The YouTube video is where I found it.
What would we do without YouTube? I did a YouTube video, guys, probably one of my earliest travel video. It's just a great town. If you've not been to Cedar Key, they are recovering from the hurricane that went through, a month ago, maybe? So I would put them on your list. One reason I think Cedar Key is cool is because it's kind of hard to get to. It's not an exit off the freeway. You have to kind of intentionally get there. But what you'll find is the people are so great. The town is just charming. There's an old hotel, a couple of good churches, and steamers, which until you've had steamed clams at steamers and a cold Stella beer, you really haven't lived. They grow clams right there, right, Jerry? Clams and oysters?
90% of all the clams grown in the whole U.S. are raised there. And that's see, you can't own the ocean floor yet, but the state will lease you a 2-acre tract. And my barber has a 2-acre tract. The bartender has a 2-acre tract. Everybody's side hustle is a 2-acre tract of raising clams.
And when you get to Cedar Key, be sure and take a clam farm tour. You'll be astounded what it takes to grow a clam to show up in your bowl that a restaurant charges, I don't know, what, $20 for a pound? And what that farmer actually makes from that clam that takes 2 years to get to the point where it's a marketable product. It's just, we're actually going to try and do a Van Brie camp out in Florida this between now and November and February. So stay tuned for that. I love Cedar Key. With that, let's pivot, Jerry, and talk about getting rid of stuff. This is one of my favorite topics. This was a very hard lesson for me to learn, how to be a minimalist. Now, the only thing I'm not a minimalist on is my bourbon collection. I'll be honest. It's a bad habit, but I just find so much good stuff on the road. That's what we're doing out here now. We're getting ready to share some bourbon. But kind of tell us your thoughts, Jerry, on, we talked about going to Costa Rica. Do you go down? I mean, you're staying for 6 months. Are you going down there with 2 giant roller bags and shipping a box via, I don't know, FedEx? How getting rid of stuff? Share with us your thoughts on that.
Oh, I pack up. I got a little backpack to take, and I carry on a camera bag I carry. And since I'm only going to be there 6 months, that's all I need. So I don't take much stuff to Costa Rica. And
from your RV experience, how has that been? Probably got rid of a big old house and now you're in a Class A, so a lot more room than what I have, but still minimalizing stuff is a pretty big deal, right? How emotional people get wrapped up on stuff.
Yeah, you're always accumulating stuff, even with the RV and just me here. This last 2 weeks, I've been cleaning out the storage bins and getting rid of stuff because they all fill up. You're going to just human nature to save everything. As long as you got space, you won't throw it away. So I had all kinds of stuff I've been throwing away and giving away for the last 2 weeks. It's one of the things I drove a trip up to Knoxville to my son's today to carry a bunch of stuff that I didn't need. And some I didn't want to throw away. I had some some gas grill I was not using, and a great big vacuum cleaner that since I put hardwood floors in, I wasn't using that big vacuum cleaner, so I carried that up there. Just things that take up space. But back to getting rid of things in the first place, it's better to, instead of doing it, a lot of people want to do it by a room at a time, but I think that it's better to do it in a category. Take all your clothes, old, new, and everything. Do clothes all at one time, and then do books all at one time. Just get rid of each category as opposed to cleaning out the front bedroom and then the back bedroom. You do it that in category style.
Yeah, that's a beautiful idea. And to me, it feels good to get rid of stuff you haven't used in a very long time. So I have like a 60-day rule. It's not seasonal like a coat or shorts. If I haven't touched it in 60 days, I probably don't need it. And what can I replace it with? Does it have one function or two functions? It should have at least, I think, two functions in a van, just to maximize the space. So love that. This last category, Jerry, then we're going to do your book offer and Libation Life. So stay tuned. One of the chapters in your book, Secrets of RVing on a Dime and a Dream, was decide, make it happen. Tell us your thoughts on that.
Well, that's probably the biggest reason people don't get around to doing it. They just don't make a decision. They don't make a decision not to do it. They just don't decide. And I think you need to set a date. Until you set a date, it's kind of wishful thinking anyway. Just decide on a certain date. Come hell or high water, you're going to pull out of the driveway or you're going to be gone. So if you rent an apartment, that's easy because you can just, when you set a time when you're not going to renew your lease, and set a time, and then without a deadline, it's kind of like turning in a term paper at school. The only reason you turned it in because that was the last day possible. If it'd been longer, you'd have taken longer. So that's the same way that getting rid of your stuff. You got to start getting rid of it, throw away everything it's trash, which is most of it. Give away a bunch of stuff. And the thing, you got sentimental things. You can give them to kids or grandkids or relatives. If they won't take them, you know what's going to happen when you're gone. So they sure won't take them then. So
it's true. That is so true. I've been donating a lot of stuff to Goodwill. In fact, I'm hoping to make a video before I get back to home base because I've been packaging stuff and shipping it back to home base. It's amazing how inexpensive it is. Like if you use a U.S. mail and the stuff fits in a single box, for $20, even if you're traveling, not full-time, but taking big trips, what I found is you do collect, even I collect stuff as I go, and I don't want to miss the memory. So fine, make a little collection and then you send it to home base so it's not cluttering up your van. I've just found the less clutter just makes me feel better. I've seen some vans that, man, it's packed full, right? RVs just packed full of stuff.
I had a RV friend that he didn't need any formal clothes, and he got rid of all that. And his father died, so he went by Goodwill, paid $5, and bought a sport coat to wear at his father's funeral. On the way back, he stopped and donated it back to Goodwill.
For $5. That's great. Okay, let's Jerry, share and thank you for doing this. Very generous for this audience. And tell us what your offer is. How do they get it, and how long is it available? Please.
It's today and tomorrow. The ebook version is free. Just go to Amazon and search for the title of that book, and it'll come up. And it's a little bit confusing the way Amazon does it, but if you click on the book like you're going to buy it, when you go to checkout, it'll show zero. It's zero cost. It kind of looks like you have to be a member of Amazon Prime or something. You don't. Just click on the ebook like you're going to buy it today or tomorrow, and then go to checkout, and you'll see it show up as $0.
That is super generous. So probably tomorrow night at midnight it would end. So act quickly. Supplies are limited. And it's just a really awesome offer. So if you are in your RV already, there's some great tips in there. And if you are still trying to figure this out, you'll find some amazing advice from a pro. And look at all those books. There's some really great topics there. I just love it. Jerry, let's shift gears to Libation Live. I bet you're ready. And by the way, just everybody give a big shout out, big thumb up for Jerry joining us tonight, taking time out of his day, and I really do appreciate that. So Libation Live, there he is. So what I'm going to do, my Libation Live is, again, Silver Belly Whiskey. Found this through Embassy RV's association with Alan Jackson, a pretty famous 90s country star. And what I learned from Embassy RV, I didn't actually know this. If you can read the label here, you probably can't. But he did these in batches, and every batch is a song title. So this one is Here in the Real World. So that's actually a song he made. And again, I've only seen this in the wild twice, from our camp out last February, and then I found this in a liquor store in Chattanooga because I'm always perusing the goods. So let's have a little pour here. And I love the fact that he uses a very traditional whiskey bottle. Let's get that going, and let's get the jingle jar. Not to break it any further. Jerry, cheers, sir. Thank you for joining us tonight. I do appreciate you sharing your expertise. This is lovely. And thank you all for watching and tuning in tonight. I appreciate this. This is the website. If you want to check it out, this is what we're drinking tonight. It's about $43 for a bottle at retail. And again, every batch has a different song is named for a different song that Alan Jackson did. It's very smooth. It's mild, I would say, but it's if you like a mild, not high proof. Does it say what the proof is on here? Does not, but I think you'll like this if you're kind of new to bourbon. Which kind of leads us to our this is the whiskey wagon, which the new owner of this is going to get delivery here. That's the whiskey wagon. Was an Alan Jackson promotional thing with his whiskey. This is in downtown Nashville. And the new owner of this van is going to take delivery here in the next couple of weeks. And she's going to be a guest on What's Up Wednesday, hopefully before the show or the year is out. So she is really excited, Chrissy, to share her story. She's an amazing gal, an amazing story. This day in history. Jerry, let's see if you remember any of these big dates. So 66 years ago today, 1957, Sputnik 1 becomes the first artificial satellite to orbit Earth, and it put America in a frenzy.
I remember standing out in my driveway looking at it when it.
But it flew over. Now, when you see a thing of a deployment of Starlink, you're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, just another deployment. But yeah, 66 years ago today, everything changed because of that day. And 140 years ago, this was just a few minutes before your time, Jerry, the first run of the Orient Express. Yeah, I don't remember that. Nor I. The Orient Express, a very famous train ride. And then I thought this was kind of interesting. 441 years ago, the Gregorian calendar was introduced by Pope Gregory the, what is that? XIII, so 13th. I don't even know that Gregorian calendar is what we know and love today, right?
Yeah, I tell people that today being October the 4th is a prediction. It was made hundreds of years ago, so it may not be right.
Because there's the Chinese calendar and there's lots of calendars, but this is one that's pretty well known. So thank you, Pope Gregory, for coming up with Monday through Sunday. I guess it's pretty cool. We're gonna do Song of the Week. Let's get a couple more questions in here, Jerry. Just a great having y'all join us tonight. Peggy's got a good question. Jerry, hi Scott. Jerry, are you including healthcare and rig maintenance in those dollars per month that you're spending? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, your healthcare can run way on up there. I include that, but not in the $1,000 a month. I end up probably spending $1,500, close to $2,000. But I was just showing you how you could do it at $1,000, and a lot of people are doing it. There's a Facebook group about 4,500 members. It's about $1,000. Something about $1,000 RVing on $1,000 a month. So there's a whole lot of people doing it. But if you're young and gambling on no health care or got a low cost policy, us old folks can pay a high price on insurance. I think my Blue Cross is $300 a month plus Medicare on top of that. So
yeah, it's kind of the world we live in.
I don't have much maintenance. I do most of the maintenance myself, and luckily I haven't had any big problems. But
And we talked before we went live, Jerry, on some ways to do rig maintenance. And one we kind of both agreed on is using a mobile RV technician. They come to you versus the dealer having the excuse of, well, we don't have any appointments for weeks or months. But the RV tech comes to you. And what's the second best thing, Jerry?
Second best thing is I get to look over his shoulder and watch what he's doing. So the next time I don't need him, and I pick his brain, I can ask him questions the whole time he's working. When you go to the dealer, they won't let you back in the shop. So you don't know, you didn't learn anything. So I like to have an RV tech that I can find out what he's doing and how he's doing it. Oh, the other thing about buying an RV is be sure and look at the date codes on the tires, because a lot of times they just go by the tread, and all RV tires have good treads just about, because nobody ever wears one out. So they all got good treads and may be 10 years old. So look at the date code, and if it's more than 5 to 7 years old, you're going to be buying tires shortly. So that's important. That's a $2,000 to $3,000 expense right off the top. So that's an important thing to check.
Great advice. Let's do our song of the week. If you got some more questions, get them in here because they're coming up on the top of the hour. This song was recommended by Jerry tonight. So it's kind of an old, I couldn't actually find the date on this in Wikipedia. So I'm guessing it's kind of the 80s. I don't know. But this is the song of the week. Jimmy Buffett, again, just passed on a few weeks back. Jerry, tell us about this song, why you brought it up.
I like it because the whole idea of it is just, it says breathe in, breathe out, and move on. Don't worry about it. It's kind of an attitude you need to live the RV life. You just can't worry about everything.
I think it's true. I'd never heard the song before. So I love, the whole purpose of this is, sharing taste from the road, discover country music and bourbon on the road, and songs like this. And a lot of them come, like Jerry is mentioning, kind of synonymous with RVing, but I really think it's good advice for everybody. If you have a problem, breathe in, how you going to fix it, breathe out, and then just keep rolling forward. Now you know something more that you didn't before. And I think RV travel just really is poignant to that, because you got to keep rolling. I've had some pretty big stuff happen, Jerry, since you and I talked last. I had a serpentine belt break in April. I was rear-ended. The van was smashed in Texas. So I've learned a lot this year, and I just, I breathe in, I breathe out, and I keep moving, because that's the way we roll. It's pretty incredible. RVing's taught me a lot of patience, mostly, except for drivers.
That song says about that watch didn't have any hands or numbers on it. It just says now, but it's never wrong.
That's a great point. Let's look for a couple more questions. It looks like we're caught up. Well, Jerry, just want to say a big thank you again for joining us tonight. It's been just an honor to have you on again. You were on a couple of years ago, I think. And thank you, everybody, for watching the live. And we're going to turn you loose. Sit right there in the studio, Jerry, but we'll turn everybody else loose. I got to do my bourbon duties out here with the campers. But if you're going to the Adventure Van Expo in Chattanooga this weekend, it opens on Saturday, runs Sunday. And I'll be there. I'm going to be there in the Rover Vans booth. We got some big announcements this weekend. So it'll be a delight to have you there. The camping's across the street in the big lot. But Jerry, just thank you again for joining us tonight. Any final thoughts for the folks?
I don't think so. Like that part back we said about making a decision, just go ahead and make a decision one way or the other.
It's true. And it helps you be young, right?
You can always change. Until you make a decision, you can't even change it.
Well said, sir. All right, folks. And with that, we'll say thanks for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday. Anniversary is the topic. 5 years ownership, and journey on, and peace be with you. Jerry, sit tight. Thanks, everybody.